What's up, guys? Aroneous here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today's video I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons, essentially, of the new mythical champions coming to the game that are being released soon. We don't know exactly when. We just saw a teaser about September 5th. So I'm going to be doing a video on that, and then I'm going to be going over, like, is it even going to be great? Is it toxic, or is it beneficial, potentially, to the game? So yeah, I'm going to dive right into it. I'm going to watch the video on it though, because I haven't actually watched the video yet on this mythical champions that are coming out with mythical shards and everything like that. So I'm going to watch that, and yeah, I'll dive right in on my thoughts right afterwards. All right, here we go.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our latest update preview. Buckle up. This one's going to be huge.
Pretty
After all,
sick aesthetic so
not every day
far.
that we announce a brand new champion rarity. Say hello to mythical
Here comes
champions.
mythicals. Here comes
As they're
mythicals.
the
Let's
next
go.
Step up from legendary, we've gone all out to make mythical champions feel truly special. So
That's
what
crazy.
exactly makes them so next level? In a nutshell, mythical champions are essentially two champions in one. They can change between two forms through an exciting new mechanic we're calling Metamorph.
Okay, so metamorphing, that's interesting. Okay, so essentially you've got your top one, then you got your bottom one. I'm assuming it's going to be like support versus attack and then things like that. So, or maybe it's double damage. I mean, I wouldn't expect it to be like attack and then morphing into another attack-based champion for more damage. I feel like it would just be support or attack, or HP and attack, defense and attack, things like that. But you never know. We'll see what happens. I do think that this is going to be a little bit of a downside, because it just kind of bridges the gap even further with free-to-play, low-spend, high-end, pay-to-win players, things like that. If they do decide to monetize this, which I'm sure they will, I can only imagine how much it's going to cost, though.
Each form will have a different set of skills, and sometimes they'll change a champion's type entirely. Let's check out how these warriors of myth look in battle. Allow me to introduce you to my mythical friend, Siegfried the Nephilim. Siegfried may look like your standard paragon of the Sacred Order, but wait, he hides a dark secret. When all of Siegfried's allies die, his metamorph skill activates, transforming him into a flaming angel of vengeance. Check it out, even his shield is angry. It's not just Siegfried's appearance that's changed. All of his skills are different now too. His first, or base form, focuses entirely on cracking skulls and dealing damage.
That ability was
transformed
nuts.
into a second,
Dude,
or
that's
alternate
freaking
form,
crazy
he's a healer
looking.
who can revive his fallen friends and get them back in the
Revives
fight.
as well?
So there's a very quick demonstration of the metamorph mechanic.
Damn,
the
that's
signature
overpowered.
feature of mythical champions. Now, let's really get into the nuts and bolts of how they work, how to make the most out of them, and how to get them. We'll start with that last and most important point, how to get a mythical champion. Presenting Primal Shards.
This is going to be the most important part right here. How do we get Primal Shards? I'm surprised they don't just call it Mythical Shard. But then what are they going to do with the shards that they were just using? The white ones. I forget what they're called though. What are those other shards called? I don't ever get them. Oh, let me see if I can look them up real quick. Prism crystals, I think they're called, or prism shards. I think it's prism shards, but anyways, let's keep going here.
Angry-looking red shards will be your main way to summon mythical champions, but you can also get rares, epics, and legendaries of all affinities.
You can get rares? Okay, that's a huge downfall if you can get rares.
Void from them too. At launch, there won't be any mythical void champions, but we'll be sure to let you know when that changes and how you can add them to your collection. Primal shards can also be formed by collecting primal quartz. Collect 100 of this mythical substance, and you can create a primal shard. Both primal shards and quartz can be earned from certain events or other in-game activities. So get hunting.
Events and in-game activities.
I've got a mythical champion. How do I power them up? Good news. They work exactly the same as any other champion. Fight in battles, send them to the sparring pit, use XP brews or food champions to gain experience, and use affinity potions to ascend them. Easy. They also come fresh out of the shard at rank 6, so no rank 5 chickens needed.
That's pretty cool.
Speaking of upgrades, time to talk skills. You'll need mythical tomes to develop their skills.
Really?
And keep in mind that you'll need to upgrade each form's skills separately. But before you start panicking, fully upgrading all skills across both forms will require about the same amount of tomes as if you were upgrading a legendary champion.
Wait, did he say both forms?
If you have a preference for skills separately. But before you start panicking, Fully upgrading all skills across both forms will require about the same amount of tomes
Okay, across
as if you
both
were
forms. That's
upgrading
actually
a
pretty cool.
legendary champion.
So maybe like
If you have
4
a
on one
preference
side,
for
5 on
form
one
over
side,
the other,
6 on one
consider
side,
using your tomes
something
to
like
focus
that.
on that form's skills first. For example, if you want our good buddy Siegfried primarily as a healer, use your tomes on his alternate form skills first.
Oh, that's
While
pretty
you'll
cool.
need to think about which skills you want to upgrade first, gear and masteries will remain the same across both forms. Find the perfect balance for both.
Okay, so then my next question would be, can you get awakenings on these mythical champions now, or can you never get them because they're basically already awakened at their strongest forms? I guess, if that makes sense.
Or dedicate all your resources into one form. The choice is yours. As for empowering, that works exactly the same. But
Okay,
you
so
can't
you can empower.
unbind mythical champions. When it comes to awakening, it's business as normal. Blessings will remain the same across both forms. The mythical champions will get extra stat bonuses.
Did you see the stat bonuses on that?
Blessings will remain the same across both forms.
Plus 60 resist, plus 20 speed here. What?
The mythical champions will get extra stat bonuses from them. Since there will only be a few mythical champions at launch,
people are gonna get like 400 crit damage, 450, maybe even 500 crit damage with these mythicals.
Them to the wish list at the Altar of Souls. For now, anyway. That's the broad strokes covered. Let's jump back to the metamorph mechanic for a closer look. We've already seen that each mythical champion will have 2 forms they can switch between. Here's the kicker.
I like that form a lot. That's really cool.
The way each mythical champion's metamorph skill works can differ. Remember Siegfried, our friendly neighborhood flaming angel? His base form's metamorph skill works like a passive and will only activate when all of his allies die.
So
However,
Siegfried,
in his alternate form, Siegfried can activate his
only
metamorph skill
when his
like any
allies
other
die?
active skill, turning him back into his base form at the touch of a button. In general, most mythical champions will have metamorph as a standard active skill, meaning they can change forms whenever they want.
So Siegfried is the only one out of the mythicals that can metamorph only on an exception, where all the allies die. Is that what he's saying? That's what it seems like.
His base form's metamorph skill works like a passive.
Listen to that one more
and will
time.
only activate when all of his allies die.
All allies have to die for Siegfried in order for his metamorphosis to go, but
will have metamorph as a standard
all the
active
other
skill,
mythicals can go right away by just changing whenever.
Cooldown willing, of course. Whenever a mythical champion uses their metamorph skill, they'll get an extra turn, and all of their skills will have their cooldowns reset, except for the metamorph skill. Metamorph skills also can't be affected by masteries, artifacts, or anything else that might increase or decrease cooldowns. A couple more things to keep in mind for switching forms. Unless stated otherwise, you'll keep all buffs and debuffs when changing from one form to the other. Same goes for HP. You keep the same HP percentage across both forms, even if the max HP is different. However, shield buffs won't change their value. A 10k shield buff in base form will still be a 10k shield buff in alternate form. And finally, as the name suggests, mythical champions will always start a battle in their base form. With mythical champions, we're adding a whole new level of utility that players can use to their advantage. While they're very versatile, you'll need to think really carefully about which gear, masteries, and blessings
that ability is so sick.
Composition. We can't wait to see how these mythical champions shake up Raid. Be sure to keep an eye on the release notes and check the news to see which events and activities will have primal shards or primal quartz as rewards. We're also planning a major new feature that will have a mythical champion as a reward. But I think you've had enough for today. New feature. And that's pretty much everything there is to know about mythical champions. But it wouldn't be an update preview without a champion teaser. So here's a sneak peek at the first batch of mythical champions. Man, they look so cool. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the official Raid Shadow Legends YouTube channel to stay up to date with everything.
All right, so that's not bad. Let's go back and I'm going to talk a little bit about my thoughts on this after watching all of this and what I think about the new mythical champions coming to the game. All right, so my own personal opinions, thoughts on the matter when it comes to mythical champions coming to the game. I want to talk a little bit about the pros and cons here. Is it toxic or is it beneficial? So I'm first going to talk about all the negatives, how toxic it actually can be. So I did hear at the end, you know, that, and I don't know everything, right? Because they're just teasing it a bit here. So I know that at the end they said they're going to give out a free mythical champion. So right now the champions that are in the game, we don't have the mythicals yet. And Siegfried or Sigfund, whatever the heck his name was, it seems like he's gonna be the free one, because he's the only champion that he has the exception of metamorphing, where he can only metamorph if all your allies die. So it's going to not only be hard to build him, because you need to build him like as a support damage dealer, not as just full damage, because he needs to survive to metamorph and then get a revive, as you saw in the clip. So Siegfried is probably the only one that I can think of right off the top of my head that is going to be a free mythical champion. Because think about his kit. It's worse off just based on him not being able to metamorph whenever you want him to metamorph. It is exception based on dead allies. So what are my thoughts on where it could be? So that's a little bit toxic, because obviously it's a free champion, but they're not going to give everybody in the entire game who plays it a mythical champion that's overpowered, right? They're probably going to only monetize the ones that are super powerful, or maybe it just takes extremely, extremely long to get those super powerful ones. And we're getting the maybe not so powerful one, although it still is powerful in its own right. Probably still going to have a crazy amount of base HP, base speed, base defense, things like that. So you heard the guy, he said you're going to have a champion that's stronger than a legendary to begin with. It's basically 2 legendaries combined. So I'm interested to see the base stats on all of the champions at level 60. Now, I will say, in terms of where the new content could be, the new content, the only thing I can think of is the Great Void. So this is content that's been sitting here for a while now. This is where you could end up farming potentially. I don't know for sure, but they could put it here where the Great Void is, where this new boss could be, where if you beat the boss, maybe you get some of those ores, I think that they called it. Maybe we can get it there. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. So that's one place. The other place I can't think of. I mean, maybe they could do a new rotation of Doom Tower, because they showed a Doom Tower boss, but it could just be coinciding with them just kind of siphoning through and doing different areas of the game. But they could also bring in a new Doom Tower where you could potentially get ores here. Maybe they can get, or crystals, whatever you want to call them. Maybe they can put them here in secret rooms. So after you beat all the Doom Tower secret rooms and get all of the champions from here, from normal and from hard, maybe they can put them in secret rooms where they can add them here. Or they could even add them to Hydra as well. Maybe it'll help people to want to actually fight Hydra more often as well. So that'd be huge. I don't see them even putting them in Demon Lord at all. Potentially Hydra, but most likely I feel like it's going to be this boss right here, whatever the heck this boss is going to be. And then other toxic issues is just the fact that it's so much more powerful. At the end of the day, you're going to have free-to-play players like myself who are maybe going to save up 100 of those prism crystals, ores, whatever you want to call them. We'll call them prism crystals. And once you do get enough of the 100 prism crystals, you could potentially get a rare. But we don't know what the stats are when it comes to, is it 50% of the time you're going to get a rare from a mythical shard? Is it going to be less than that? I don't know. Is it going to be, I think they should just take out rares altogether from this mythical shard that they have coming out. I think they should just get rid of rares. Just get rid of it entirely. Make it epics, legendaries, and mythical. Make epics have an 80% chance or a 70% chance, or maybe higher, maybe even 90% chance. They could make epics 90% chance that you're going to get it, and people would still be frustrated because you're going to get a lot of epics. Plus, how easy is it going to be to acquire these? We still don't know. So it could be very difficult to acquire. And if they also mentioned that you could get more of the crystals from tournaments and events. So the other downside here, the toxic part of it, is I feel like they could end up removing our ancients, our sacred shards, and our void shards. I hope they don't. I hope they keep the ancients and all the shards here in tournaments, and maybe they slot in instead of like these brews. Maybe they slot it in for brews, but make it higher up. Maybe they put the silver a little bit lower in the first slot. Hopefully they don't get rid of gems from here from tournaments. Like if they get rid of gems or shards from the tournaments and events, it's actually going to be very toxic. I don't think that people are going to want that, especially if you're a new player starting out in the game. Why would you need those shards or those crystals right away? The chances of you actually getting the mythic champion is probably going to be like 1% or less. Who knows? But we don't really know yet until it actually comes out, right? So there's that. Other toxic things is that PvP eventually, not right away, but eventually PvP will be impossible to achieve platinum unless you have mythical champions or unless you have ridiculous gear on top of strong legendary champions. So for me, I've been playing for years. Someone who's been playing free to play like myself, true free to play, and I've been playing for almost 4 years. Yes, it's going to be a little bit easier for me to potentially bridge the gap and maybe get into platinum. But once the mythical champions come out, you've got Taras and Marichka already who are super crazy, and you've got all the stone skin and stuff that's coming out. So it's already difficult for people that are low spender free to play to begin with. And these mythical champions are just going to make it harder and harder for PvP. When it comes to PvE, it makes no difference. So PvE is not toxic. It's actually beneficial for PvE content. Now for PvE, if you can get a free champion that's mythical, you're going to do a lot better in Sand Devils. You're going to do a lot better in Phantom Shogun's Grove, that's for sure. And you're going to do a lot better in the hard dungeons. So it's a big plus to all PvE content. So if you're not super into PvP, then mythical champions really shouldn't be a negative at all. It's actually a positive. It's a benefit to the game in general. Yes, it's going to take absolutely forever and it's going to be infuriating if you keep getting rares. I will say that. But you can't go in thinking that you're going to get a mythical. That's it. Just like you can't go in thinking you're going to get a void legendary. I've been playing almost 4 years and I've only pulled, I think it's 2 void legendaries. Yeah. I've been playing almost 4 years, and out of void shards, I've only pulled Sir Nick and Little Miss Annie. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So what I think they should absolutely do is put a mythical champion, which they could absolutely do this. I think they might do this. I could be wrong. They could have a mythical champion as a fragment event, or not a fragment, as an original fusion champion. Could you imagine going for a mythical fusion? That would be crazy, and everybody would want to go for that. That would be a benefit. But, of course, they're going to gate it and make the fusion harder than ever before. So it's just going to make it harder and harder, and it's going to entice people to spend a little bit more. That's the downside, obviously. But at the end of the day, this is a pay-to-win game, so you have to understand the pros and cons of this game. Does it matter if you even get a mythical? You can beat all the content in the game without getting a mythical champion. So no, it doesn't matter. The only place that it matters is going to be PvP. PvP right here. Live Arena mostly, but Classic Arena a little bit, and Tag Team Arena I would say a little bit too, because at the end of the day, trying to get into the tiers for gold, the highest echelon of gold, is going to be so hard unless they expand the player limit on gold and they expand the player limit other areas, or they even make more tiers. They could potentially create more tiers that's not just gold. Could they create mythical tiers? Possibly. They could try to go with the flow that they're already on right now. But who knows if they're going to do that. So I think Classic Arena, Live Arena, Tag Team Arena, these will be very, very hard, okay? Because at the end of the day, right here, there's only a certain amount of players that can get into Platinum. I mean, there's going to be 500 at the reset that can win Platinum. So maybe they can make a mythical as well. You know, and then just increase the amount of players or threshold of how many players can actually get into Platinum. Kind of similar to like when they're doing Tag Team Arena. So they should think about it that way. They could definitely do it that way if they wanted to, but they need to expand further on Classic Arena with player limits compared to Tag Team Arena. Okay, so there's that. Now, other negatives against it, I mean, those are the only negatives really in terms of mythicals coming to the game is PvP. Other than that, PvE, it's a positive. It's not a negative, because if you get a mythical, your game just skyrocketed in value. Could you imagine being a player that's only played for 6 months or 12 months and you got a mythical in your first year? That just made your game content go from 0 to hero so quickly, and you would win a lot faster. Now, who knows how long it's going to take to even get a mythical or to be able to pull one shard, right? Who knows? I don't know how long it's going to take. So these shards right here, these prism crystals, I already forgot what the name of the shard is, but let me go back real quick. Primal shards. I've been calling them prism shards for a little bit now. So primal shards, I don't know how long it's going to take to get a primal, because they already have this one right here, which is the prisms, which are pretty much impossible to get for free to play anyways. You can get them as a free to play, but you need to be a long time player and extremely good at the game and have tons of resources to be able to go for the different tournaments to be able to get just one pull. So now when it comes to primal shards, I don't know why they didn't just call them mythical shards to begin with. It is what it is, whatever. I digress. So in general, I think it's going to be a positive to the game because it's going to help everybody in PvE if you even get a mythical. It's a huge negative to the game because a lot of people want to play this game because of PvP. A lot of people were really looking forward to this right here, Live Arena. So because people were so looking forward to Live Arena and wanting to play, they were like, yes, I love it. But then Live Arena kind of was a dud a little bit, because at the end of the day, it's just classic arena, but people can just choose specific champions and there's no variety in here. So they need to make more variety in this live arena before they just throw in mythical champions. So they need to make it so there's different tiers of people here too, because right now, like, I'm facing a lot of people in Silver 4 free to play that are just Krakens, and they all have like a Marichka, or everybody has a Sifi with Rhodos, or, you know, and yes, I have a strong, you know, bunch of champions myself, but at the end of the day, no matter how I look at it, it's like, I'm like, okay, I can't even compete up here and I'm getting a lot of losses and my win percentage is just going down, down, down. It's not as fun when all you're doing is losing. And then I do go on a stint of wins, but the issue is I'm facing players that are far below me at that point sometimes, or they're bots. Once in a while, they're bots. Obviously, the bots don't go 5 in a row, but, you know, I did win. I lost like 4 in a row here, and then I started winning a lot because maybe I was just picking up better teams. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like you need meta champions up here in Live Arena, or you need absolutely ridiculous gear, like the strongest gear, which takes years to get unless you pay for the strongest gear. So tag team, again, this is already a long drawn out thing. Mythical champions are going to make the game a little bit more drawn out when it comes to fighting. I still think they need to upgrade or update how you fight here and make it not 30 minutes for a win-loss against both people playing each other. So I think that they should just increase the amount of damage after 5 minutes of fighting, increase the damage by 15% or 20% on both sides so the game goes faster. It just takes too long here. It takes a very long time because they tried to make the game slower by helping with Clan Boss, but they're adding new content, which does take a little bit longer. Just like Phantom Shogun's Grove, Sand Devils, all the hard mode dungeons, they take a little bit longer until you get the greatest champions in the game. You know, so unfortunately, not a lot of players out there have the best champions. Even myself, I don't have a Krizia. I don't have those crazy Void legendaries. And I've been playing almost 4 years. So what am I thinking in regards to how long is it going to take me to even get a primal shard? It might take me forever to get those primal crystals. You know, it might take me so long to get those primal crystals that it's like, is it even worth worrying about mythical champions to begin with? So at the end of the day, in the first like month or two, unless they start monetizing it right away, I feel like not many people are going to get a mythical champion in the first month or two. Just very similar to everybody going into Live Arena. I think only a handful of people have this guy right here, he's the reward for winning. I don't even remember what his name is. Let's see. Is he in here? Quintus. That's what it is. So Quintus the Triumphant, who ended up being an absolute joke. Only 13 reviews. So it could take a long time for people to get the mythicals. So how long is that going to take? It could take a year. It could take a month. It could take, who knows? But if they monetize them, then it's like, how much are they going to cost? Are they going to cost $50 a pop? That'll be crazy. Could you imagine popping a mythical shard and getting a rare? I mean, I don't know if people would actually ever buy that. And if you do buy that, leave it in the comments down below. Would you buy that? I think that would just be kind of outrageous. But then again, I'm just throwing numbers out there. I could be completely wrong. And, it could be super easy to get these mythical, quartz and stuff like that to create a primal shard. At the end of the day, as long as you aren't so concerned about PvP and you're just focusing on the game itself, PvP, PvE, everything outside of PvP, you'll be fine. This shouldn't be so difficult. It shouldn't be so hard, because like right now, are you really in platinum? Are you all in platinum? No, you're probably not. 99% of the players probably are not in platinum at all. Probably not even near platinum. So you really shouldn't be, getting too fussed about it at this point. Wait until everything comes out, and then we're going to redo. I'm going to basically wait until these champions come out into the game, get released. I want to see what the monetization is like. I want to see, how hard it is or how easy it is to get the mythical champions, before I make my final decision on how good or bad it is. But my other thought is in missions. That's what it was. So for missions, they could potentially put like Siegfried or another champion that's mythical in the missions portion. Maybe they could have mythical right after Ramantu. I feel like that would be pretty cool for all players out there, not just the pay to win players. It should also be for people who are low spend or no spend. Okay, so just think about that. I know there's a bunch of other things that I have for this topic, but I don't want to get into that in this video. But I wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I know it's a long ranty video, but thank you either way. And subscribe to the channel on your way out, and I'll see you on a video soon. Peace.